Alright guys, welcome to you guys. Welcome for joining this live. Okay. I think our microphone is good. Let's check some one or two things. Let's check let's see YouTube first. How are we doing on YouTube? Okay, it's Tope Alao. Tope Alao. Tope Alao. Let's check what we have here. Satin. Let's just check this. Should go to the other side. Okay. Okay, let's check what we have on. Let's check what we have on. Let's check what we have on TikTok. So if you're just joining us, you're welcome. If this is not your first time, you know how we roll, you know what we do. So we'll be talking about how to paint your house, how make your house look beautiful, and how to also
Spotify Premium is what your ears deserve. With millions of songs and high-quality audio, treat yourself to limitless music. Get 3 free months now and cancel anytime.
This is day 5 of me trying to design my dream studio where I can film my content. On this particular day, it's painting day and also 3. It's painting day and also 3.
okay. It's too much noise. Okay, this is better. All right, guys. Thank you very much for everybody who is here.
Alright guys,
So if you're new here, make sure you're double tapping on the screen. Make sure you engage on this live. So we'll be talking about paint, how to paint your house, how to give your house that beautiful look it deserves. And for those of you that have water issue on your wall, we'll be talking about how you can better treat that particular water issue so that it will not disturb your paints, because you can spend you can spend million on painting, and then uh you see that if you did not treat water issue on your wall, you see that the paints will be peeling and every other thing. So we are going to be showing you the necessary steps you need to take and what you need to do to get rid of that and get a perfect solution that will work for your wall. So thank you to Anite for joining, guys. Let's double tap on the screen. So thank you to everybody who is watching on YouTube as well. Thank you to Honora. Thank you very much for joining. So let's talk about some of the paints we have here. So we have the first paint we have here is satin paint. This is satin paint. Satin paint is that paint that you use if you want to paint your house, you want to paint the interior part of your house. Yes, you can also, some people are using satin for the exterior part, but it's better to use it on the interior part. Why? Because satin paint is that paint that shines. It has a shiny feel, and if you use it on the outside, it will quickly lose that shininess. So it will lose that sheen. We call it sheen. It will lose it very very fast on the outside part of your house. Why? Because you have dust, you have rain, you have sun, and it's not, satin is not built for that. So and this is common for most paint that are shiny, like satin and gloss. Though gloss has better durability on the outside than satin, which is why most people use it for their gates. So this is what you use for gates. If you want to paint the inside, you use satin. So satin is 72,000, 7 and 2, 72,000 naira per bucket. While gloss is 19,000 naira for 4 liters. Gloss is what people call oil paint. So they call it oil paint, and it's mostly in Nigeria. Gloss comes in 4 liters. 4 liters. In any other country, they might have 20 liters, but in Nigeria, this is the maximum you can get. Why? Because it has better coverage. That is, you can use more as this thing is. You can use it to cover plenty place. So if you want to paint your gates, the quantity of if you want to paint your gate, the quantity of gloss you use is just one. I don't care how big the gate is. For most, like let me say 90% of the gate, one of these particular gloss paint, which most people call oil paint, will be enough for you to paint it. And let's say, okay, the gate is very, very big. I don't, maybe yes, maybe some palace gate or something like that, but one, the maximum, let's say we've never even seen that, maybe two, but one is enough for most gates, and you even have leftover. So this is gloss paint. This is what you need to paint all your iron doors, the iron doors, iron windows, your burglary and everything. So if you have a gate, a single gate, just use one of these. You might not even finish it. So for most gates. So if you also have your iron door, iron window, your burglary in a house, for your flats, you might be needing 3 or 4 of these, depending on the things you want to paint. If it's just burglary and the gates, you might need 3 of it, depending on how also big your house is. So gloss paint is a paint that has that eye coverage and eye sheen. It has eye sheen. So if you have any question, guys, leave it in the chat. If you have any question, leave it in the chat. So gloss paint, it comes in different color, any color you need: white, black, brown, yellow, orange, blue. Schools will soon be resuming, and what they use is gloss paint. What most schools use is gloss paint. So they use gloss paint to paint their school. They use gloss paint, and this gloss paint comes in different color. Any color you need, you can get gloss paint in it. So whatever color you need, any color. So some schools use gloss paint for their iron. Some also use it to do some designs in their school. So that is gloss paint for you. So we also have the next product we'll be talking about is gloss paint is 19,000 naira for any color you want, apart from gold and silver. So gold and silver is 25,000 naira for gloss. So the satin paint, we were talking about satin paint. Satin paint also comes in different color. Whatever color you need, satin paint comes in those colors. So whatever color you need. So this one is 72,000 naira. This one is 19,000 naira. 19,000. So I was telling you that it's not too good to use satin for outside because it will quickly lose its sheen and it might fade out very fast. So, but there's another paint you can use to paint the outside part of your house that is very, very rugged. So the paint is called matte paint. So this is matte paint. If you want to paint the outside part of your house, your fence, your the body of your house, the corridor, like all those places that are exposed to sun. So matte paint is that paint you use that will last long. This matte paint can use up to 5 to 7 years on the outside part of your house. And one good thing about matte paint is that once rain beats it, it doesn't wash away. You see some paint, they just paint it 6 months ago, and everything is looking lighter. The thing is washing away. So but with matte paint, 5 years, the thing is still strong, standing, and it's still looking very beautiful and sharp. So that is matte paint for you. That's why it's very good to spend that extra money to get the best quality when it comes to matte. So matte paint is 68,000, 6 and 8,000. Most people will say, Satope, do you mean 5.8? No, it's 6 and 8, 68,000 naira for matte paint. So the next paint we'll be talking about is the Weathermax paint. So Weathermax paint is for is also like matte paint. The only difference is that Weathermax paint is good for places you did not want to do the screening. But the I must tell you that one thing about Weathermax is that it does not cover cracks, but it makes the house look beautiful, if you know what I mean. So if you have a wall that is smooth already, yes, you can use Weathermax paint to paint it. But if your wall is very rough, I would advise you do screening, or at least if you can't do screening for everywhere, do screening for those places that are very bad, like those places that are very bad. You we call it maintenance. If you have a good painter, they can buy the screening material while they are doing their work. They use it on those parts that are rough. Once they put it on those parts that are rough, it makes the wall look smoothing, and then they can paint Weathermax paint on it to make it look beautiful. At least that's another way for you to save money if you want to paint your house and you don't want to do squiding. So that's another way to go about it. So that is Weathermax paint for you. It makes your house look beautiful without you doing squiding. So Weathermax paint is 70,000 naira per bucket, and it also comes in different color. It has the same coverage as matte, almost the same look as matte, and it lasts up to 5 to 7 years, and it's built for that ruggedity, that durability, especially on the exterior part of your house. Yes, you can also use Weathermax paint on the interior part of your house. It will also look very, very beautiful. It will also look very, very beautiful. Guys, let's up tap on the screen. Let's get more people to join this live. Let's up tap on the screen. Let's get more people. It's not too bright. The YouTube one. Okay. But I think it's looking. It's just maybe the face of the camera or something. So so that is Weathermax paint for you. It comes in different color. So then we have another paint we have, which is an economic paint, for is the cheapest paint you can get is emulsion paint. So if you are somebody that cannot afford 70,000 or 72,000 naira or 19,000 naira for matte, what you need is emulsion paints. Emulsion paints, you can use it for both inside and outside part of your house. It's the basic paint that most people use. People have been using emulsion paints for a very, very long time. So emulsion paint is very cheap. It's just 19,000. And if you are somebody that wants that, if you are somebody that likes to repaint your house every year, this is how to save money on buying paints. You see, if you are since you are painting your house every year, instead of buying matte or weather mask or even satin to paint your house, you can use ordinary emulsion. I'm talking about the exterior part of the house now. So if you use ordinary emulsion, it's going to save you money because emulsion is cheaper than matte and weather mask, and it can last up to 1 to 3 years. So if you are somebody that always repaints the house every year, so instead of buying the expensive mats and weather mats that can cost almost like times four of ordinary emulsion, like the cost is like times four of ordinary emulsion. You can just buy ordinary this emulsion, use it to paint the exterior part of your house and make your house look beautiful depending on the color you choose. And since you are repainting every year, the paint will still be there. It won't wash away before that time. So that's what you need to do. But if you also want to go for the luxury, I understand that some people just like the feel, the way matte paints look or whether matte paints look on the wall. So the way it looks, that's why they say, okay, let me go for it. But apart from that, if you don't care about the subtle difference between matte and weather matte, between matte and emulsion, and you are somebody that repaints your house everywhere, and you are also cost conscious, yeah, cost conscious, yes, you can use ordinary emulsion. It will last you long depending on the color you choose. So it will last you long and also save you money. So that's how to save money repainting your house. Another thing you can also do is all this your shootout or all this special color that you choose. If you don't want to keep repainting your house, what you can do is to paint the old house with matte or weather mask, and then all those shootouts, all those window design, paint it with emulsion. So what you now do every year for that emulsion is that, let's say you paint the old house with gray color, and then the emulsion is white. You use the emulsion white for the window design and all the other designs. Now if you want to change the look, the old look of your house, what you can do is that the window frame and the other designs that you did that you painted with emulsion, after a year or even 2 years, you can now repaint it with another emulsion color. Let's say orange. It should now be the first time you painted gray, the first time you painted gray and white. Now maybe after 2 years you still have that gray that you painted previously, then you now add another color to it, which is orange. You change those white to orange, now you have gray and orange, so it will make people think you 5 years they still look new. And then when you paint the new emulsion on those design, it will make your house look new, saving you a lot of money. The other thing you can also do to save money on painting every year is that you see these high quality paints like matte and Weathermax, they are washable. Like you can wash them depending on the color you use and where your house is, so you can wash them like like let's say after a year or two and you see that there's dust there and everything, you can prayer wash them. You can get somebody that has this washing machine, like all this prayer washing that they used to wash car. Let the person use the prayer washing machine to help you wash all the walls in your house. That's when you use matte or Weathermax. If you use ordinary emulsion, it might end up washing away depending on the quality of the emulsion. But that is another way you can save money on painting your house. So I hope these tips are helpful for you on how to repaint your house, spending less money. So let's move on to the next thing. So we've talked about matte and Weathermax. This is emulsion. We've talked about emulsion. So let's go to the primer. So primer is that thing that you use if you are somebody that have your house, you have a fresh wall, so you can use primer. You need to use primer on that fresh wall so that all the reactions, all the cement they use to plaster that house will not end up reacting with your main paint, because you want to paint on the wall. If you paint directly on the wall, you might end up seeing that one place is darker, one place is lighter, and different reaction that you'll be seeing on the wall. So that is why you need to use primer to cover that surface to create a smooth feel and a uniform look on that particular wall. So that is the work of a primer. The primer will also help your paint to bond, to stick very well to the wall compared to when you did not use primer. And this primer goes for 25,000 naira for 4 liters. This is 4 liters and it has better coverage, one of the best coverage in the industry once you buy Armstrong paint primer. And for those of you that have minor stains on your wall, like maybe you have you are saying that you are seeing that there are some stains like brownish stain on your wall, you can also use primer to cover it up before you paint another paint on that particular wall. Or you've painted orange color on your wall before, you want to change it to white, or you want to change it to another color and you don't want to spend a lot of paint. Yes, you can use primer on that previous paint. Once it's dry, then you bring in the new paints and paint on it. Those are the work of primer. So the other thing you products we'll be talking about is Costa 2K. So Costa 2K is that chemical. Mr. Yaoneko, please let me bring one bucket of crystal coats downstairs. So Costa 2K is that chemical that you use to treat dampness. So if you are somebody that has, if you can also bring the damp master. Yes. So one. So let's bring it up. So if you are somebody that has dampness on your wall, your paint is peeling, you have different reaction on your wall. Yes, Costa 2K is that thing you need to use. So it's also, there are three different chemicals that you can use to treat that particular dampness, depending on how serious the dampness is. So if the dampness is on a low level, you can just use Costa 2K, or you use crystal coat, or you combine the two. If the dampness is on the medium level, you combine Costa 2K and crystal coat together. If it is on the very high level, you use Costa 2K, crystal coat, and damp master. So this is Costa 2K, it goes for 60,000 naira. Crystal coat is also 60,000. Why damp master is based on the total square meter you want to use it for. So thank you to Nana Kojo Tutu. Thank you very much for joining. So we've been talking about how to prevent your paint from peeling on the wall, how to make your house look beautiful. How to make your house look beautiful. Uh, so if you have any question, leave it in the chat. If you have any question, leave it in the chat. So this is Costa 2K. We also have crystal coat. This is Damp Master. Okay, this is Damp Master. This is Damp Master. Okay, we'll arrange it later to show. Will it stay on this?
Yes, stay.
like the.
Need to set it down first.
Okay, so yeah. Let's put it there. We'll still rearrange it because it's not showing in the camera. You have to put it on at the top. Okay. Yes, it's not showing. You put it at the top. Okay, it's not showing. It's showing there, I mean, but is it showing me? Is it not taking me out of frame?
It's showing. It's showing.
It's showing me. It's not showing this one.
It's showing.
So let me adjust that one too. Let me see.
And the name go over.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it showing to the camera?
It's showing. Yeah. It's showing.
So no, we'll still rearrange the place. I don't know. We'll find a way to make sure all the products are showing, even though it's just 111.
The product is showing with you, sir.
Showing better, yeah. But that one is showing a little bit of the Costa. Okay. It's showing a little bit of the Costa. Okay. Of the crystal coat and damp master. So, so like I said, if you have water issue on your wall, this is what you use. You have this is crystal coat. This is crystal coat. This thing is this thing is solid. I was this new batch came in yesterday, and I was wondering that will these things go a long way? But after seeing, you can see this thing is very solid. It's very solid, and this is damp master as well. It's damp master. So this crystal coat, you still need to mix it with water. So you mix it with water to use it to treat your wall. So when I mention crystal coat, this is what I mean. Is the one you use to treat dampness. So you can combine crystal coat and Costa 2K if you have an apartment. You don't want to spend too much money. But if you are going to use damp masters, damp master is very expensive. Damp master is this bucket alone is like 400,000 naira. This small bucket that you are seeing. But this one is 60,000 naira for crystal coat. Why this one is 60,000 too? So if you just have 120,000 for you just buy one of this and one of this. But it depends on the total square meter of the affected area. So once you apply these two, trust me, you can go to sleep and be rest assured that water will not be disturbing that particular wall again. So we also have a video on how you can use these chemicals to treat dampness. So when I talk about damp master is a chemical you use, like is one. I don't know if you can see the image on the screen, on the what's it called. So what you do we use damp master for is that, let's say you have your wall like this, you find once you remove the block, you see like on the ground part of your block, you will see that there are some lines there. Then you also see the block, so you just punch some hole in the block at intervals, and then you inject, you put maybe with a syringe or something, you inject damp master inside it. It will form a membrane. You know what causes that water in the first place is that they did not put that nylon membrane, which we call DPC, on your block, which is why water is rising to the top. So but once they inject this damp master in that particular block, it will form a nylon. We call this chemical DPC. It will form a nylon and water will not be able to penetrate. Now, after that, the reason we also try to use crystal coat and Costa 2K after doing that is because there are sometimes that you might not there are sometimes that you might not really do the damp master very well, and little water can still be escaping. So all these ones, this crystal coat and Costa 2K will help you block those ones from coming to your wall, and you have a complete damp system that can last for several years, 10 years and above. But the combination of damp master, Costa 2K, and crystal coats, it's very expensive. Honestly, I won't lie to you. It's very expensive, but if you use it, you are very sure that even after 10 years, you are not seeing any water. So if it's applied properly, so this is a complete damp system that you can use to stop water from affecting your wall. So guys, let's ask question. If you have any question, leave it in the chat. Let's double tap on the screen. Let's double tap on the screen so that more people can join this live. Let's double tap on the screen. so that more people can join this live. So we've been talking about paints. We've been talking about how to use paints to. We've been talking about how to make your house look beautiful, how to prevent your paint from peeling on the wall. So we've talked about all these other products. So let's move on to the questions that people have been asking. Let's move on to the questions that people have been asking. Let's check all these questions. So if you have any questions, leave it in the chat. So this person is saying, this, oh God, who is this person now? I've been declining this call. Hello, who is, hello? Hello? Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, Alpha. No, 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 come on, Shishobo. Kí ló fẹ́ ṣe mẹ́? Mr. Ewa, ẹ má ṣe ṣọ́ọ̀bù, wọ́n ní kó má ṣe ṣọ́ọ̀bù lé nítorí àwọn pípù yẹn tó bá ti rí wọ́n máa fi opportunity wà kọjá ní ẹjọ́. Ẹ má ṣe ṣọ́ọ̀bù àtọ́látọ̀. Ẹ má ṣe àtọ̀. Wọ́n máa ń fi jalè ní ẹ má ṣe ṣọ́ọ̀bù. Téèyàn wọn kàn téèyàn àti pé èèyàn sílẹ̀ àti èèyàn ò sílẹ̀ tó bá ti rí pé èèyàn ṣàṣìlẹ̀kùn báyìí wọ́n ti máa tájẹ̀tì èèyàn ní mọ́ ẹ má ṣe nìyẹn. Torí ẹ̀mí ṣe fẹ́ kàn ṣe àtọ́. Yeah. Bóyá ká lo co-working space fẹ́ nínú. Ó yẹ kúrò. Okay, okay. Ká má ṣe ọ́fíìsì rárá. Àwọn tó ń ṣe ọ́fíìsì last week wọ́n lọ kó gbọ́ ọjà wọn ni. Èló dẹ̀ lèèyàn ń pa téèyàn máa tán tí wọ́n máa kó ọjà. Ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ lè jẹ́ kí n mọ cost ẹ̀ ká ló mọ fún mi nù. Ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ kúṣẹ́ ẹ̀sìn. Sorry about that. So it's our store in Akure. They are doing one traditional stuff like that. So if you open, they will tell you they will tell you they will tell you they will say they have to pack your goods. They say they have to pack your goods, and me, I'm not ready for any drama this morning. So don't just open the door. So, but our Lagos office is open. Somebody is asking how to apply a certain paint. So you apply certain paint. So somebody is asking, how do you apply certain paints? So you apply certain paints the way you apply every other paints, most of these paints here. So once you like, this is the proper process to apply certain, so that you won't have the paint peeling off later at the end of the day. So the number one step you need to do, if that is if you can afford it, is you do screeding on the wall. After they do screeding on the wall, you sandpaper the wall. After you sandpaper the wall, you apply a primer if you can afford a primer. So after applying the primer, you also sandpaper the primer, and then after sandpapering the primer, then you bring out the satin. This is your satin paint. You open the lid. You can, if it is too thick, you can add little water to it, and then stir everything together, and then use your roller to apply it on the wall in a uniform manner. So that is how to apply satin on your wall, that it will not peel. So the primer will help your satin paint to stick better to the wall. It will help it to stick better, and it will not be peeling like all the satin that peel. Is because they did not use primer on the wall, or the wall has water issue. So that is how to properly apply satin paint on the wall. Mr. Innocent, let me check, like, the camera. Is it, like, if I want to repost, is it showing me like that? Okay, let me also check. Let me also check the. So that's thank you to 58 Zakio for that question. Please, how much is matte paint? So matte half, I okay, like this, I mean. Yes. So Yes, it's still okay. It's still okay. So it's just because I'm trying to show the crystal coat and the damp master. So how to apply? Okay, we've answered that one. So this person, how much is matte paint? So this is matte paint. Matte paint is 68,000 naira per bucket. 68,608, 68,000 per bucket for any color you need. They are all the same price. How much is that primer? So our primer is 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira for primer. So let me check one thing before we move on. So if you have any question, leave it in the chat. We have primer, we have satin, we have matte, we have Weathermax. For those of you that don't want to do screeding, we have Weathermax paint for you. Oh. So we have Weathermax paint for you for those of you that don't want to do screeding. So we have Weathermax paint for you. Okay. Um, there's a distance between, there's a space between that. We can bring it in, and okay, we can bring it in. We can still show 3. Once we do this. Thank you to everybody who is watching on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, you're watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate you for sticking around. So if you're on TikTok, you can just adjust. You can adjust it here.
Okay, okay.
Like this.
Okay, okay.
You know,
It's a rotation.
instead of changing the position. So let's move. Let's check what we have on TikTok. Okay, please. How much is matte? Matte is 68,000 naira. Thank you to 58 Zakio. Thank you very much for double tapping on the screen, guys. Let's double tap on the screen. Let's get more people to join this live. Let's double tap on the screen. Let's double tap on the screen. I think we started around. Let's double tap on the screen. So this person is asking. Someone is asking, why can't tiles be used to stop the wall issue? The water issue. Sorry, somebody is asking, why can't tiles be used to stop the water issue on the wall? Yes, nobody is saying tiles cannot be used to stop water issue. Tiles can be used to cover the surface, just like every other damp treatment can do. But in some cases, you might not be able to use tiles. For example, you can use tiles on the outside, but when you now start putting tiles on on the inside part of your house, it kind of looks somehow. It doesn't make the house look beautiful again. That's why most people don't like tiles. Some people don't even like the idea of putting tiles on the wall. So the other thing is that if you did not treat that particular dampness that is affecting your wall, that water that is entering your block, it will end up weakening the block. So you end up weakening the block, and then you might have some structural issue later on in the day. Though most chemicals, if you did not also apply them well, they can also have this particular side effect as well, which is why using a chemical DPC or installing a DPC while you were doing foundation is the best option. But if you did not do that, there are also chemical DPC that you can manually insert, inject into the block of your house that will form a kind of that particular DPC that they fail to put in the first place, but they are usually expensive. So that is the best way to solve it. But for most people that just rent the house, they don't want to spend that money. You just rent the house. You just want something that will cover your wall, that will not make your wall to be wet, especially on the inside. Go for chemicals like crystal coats and Costa 2K. So these two chemicals can help you solve it for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, pending the time you'll be able to move to another place. So and you won't see water on your wall again. So somebody is asking, please, somebody is asking, which paints can I use for a new building? So if you have a new building, these are the paints you can use. These are the best paints you can use to paint your house that will last long 5, 7, 10 years without you having to repaint your house again. So for the inside, you use satin paint. Satin paint can last up to 10 years for the inside, and it comes in different color, not just white. It comes in any color you want. So for the outside, if you've done the screeding, so you can use matte paint for it. But if you did not do the screeding, Weathermax paint is the best option you can use. So these paints are the best option. But if you cannot afford them because they are expensive, you can go for Emulsion. Emulsion paints will also do the work. It's just that why these guys will last for 5 to 7 years or even 10 years in some cases, emulsion paints will only last for 1 to 3 years. That's the only difference. And the other difference is that where you can be using 2 or 3 of this bucket of emulsion, you might be using just one bucket of matte or Weathermax paint or even satin paint. So they have better coverage than emulsion paints, which end up saving you money in the long run. And the fact that they are also more durable than ordinary emulsion paints. So those are the best paints you can use to paint your house if you have a new building. So let's move on to the next question. So somebody is asking, is black cement screeding better than POP cement screeding for both interior and exterior? So the truth is, and the honest truth is that black cement screed is more stronger than POP cement screed, like than POP screed. So why? Because cement is something that is what they even use to build that house in the first place, and it's usually very strong compared to just the POP material. So when you want to do squiding, so it is usually advisable, especially for the outside, because that's where rain and sun and everything will be falling on. If you want to do squiding there, use black cement. The other one you can use is potty screed. Potty screed is also very very strong if you get it from the right company or from the right source, from those that know how to do it very well. It's very very strong and it's very very solid. So that potty screed can also stay very very well, like can also last very long on the outside. So either you use black cement screed or you use potty screed. So we have our own potty screed, we call it Robusto screed, which is very very strong on the wall when you use it. So let's move on to the next question. Let's check the charts if we have other questions from people. So somebody is asking, do you have any branch around Abuja or northern part state? For that, we don't have any branch in Abuja yet, but we do a bit to Abuja. We do a bit to Abuja. So if you want to place your order, just message me 090435758896. That's the number on the screen. 090435758896. That's the number on the screen. WhatsApp only, please. WhatsApp only. So let's move on to the next question. So we recently hit 50,000 subscribers on Instagram, and we are just few subscriber away from few followers away from 100,000 on TikTok. So kudos to you guys. So if you are yet to follow us on this live, maybe you'll be the 100,000th person to follow us. So make sure you are there to follow us and support what we've been doing, the knowledge we've been giving for free. So make sure you tap the follow button right now, ASAP. So how much is satin? Satin paint is 72,000 naira, 7 and 2, 72,000.
How much is satin paint?
So satin paint is 72,000 naira, 7 and 2. So this is satin paint. This is 20 liter satin paint. I want to paint my house with white, but don't have money for satin. What's the best paint to use? So if you don't have money for satin, and you still want to, if you're somebody that doesn't have money for satin and you still want to paint your house and make it look beautiful, your best bet is to use emulsion. Emulsion paint is like satin is like times 5 the price of emulsion paint. So or times, let me say times 4, because satin is like times 4 the price of emulsion paint. So emulsion paint is cheap and it will also make your house look beautiful, depending on the color you select to paint that particular house. So if you don't have the money for satin, go for emulsion paint. It will also make your house look beautiful. So that's a wonderful question. So let's move on to the next question. Guys, let's double tap on the screen. Let's double tap on the screen. Let's get more people to join this live. Let's double tap on the screen. So that is Satin paint. Emulsion paint comes in different color: white, black, brown, yellow. Any color you need, cream, off white. So thank you very much to Boluwatife. Thank you to everybody. So how long does emulsion paint? How long does you mean? Probably you mean how much is emulsion paint? Emulsion paint is 19,000 naira, 19,000 naira per bucket for the 20-liter bucket, and it also lasts for 1 to 3 years. While certain paints can last up to 5 to 7 years or even 10 years in some cases. Thank you very much for that question. Thank you to Bolu Atifed for double tapping on the screen. Douglas, thank you very much for joining. Girl like, thank you very much, I really appreciate you. I want to use white. Yes, you can use white. Emotion also has white. You can use white emotion. Like this place, this studio you are seeing, that white you are seeing there is emotion, white emotion. So it looks very beautiful and pretty as well on the wall. So we also use emotion paint. So especially when you are considering costs, you need something that's affordable. Yes, go for emotion. It will also last. Be in a single place. But what you should have been doing is to say, okay, of what is really happening in your business. And this is also the same for most other expenses, especially for the major ones. So that is for business owner, guys. Let's move back to our paint topic. So somebody says, how much is the drum of satin? So satin is 72,000 naira. 72,000 naira. So somebody is asking, satin has only white, right? But you can use things. No. Satin paint. so so this person is asking, does certain paints only comes in white color? No, certain paint comes in any color. So white, black, brown, even black. Yes, so all this color you are seeing on the color chart, they come like certain paints has those colors. So you don't need to buy white and start mixing paste with it. No, you can just ask, if you need off white, give me off white satin. If you need dark gray, give me dark gray satin. For example, this particular satin is dark gray. You might not be able to see, this one is dark gray. You can even see from this stain on the bucket. So it's dark gray, so it has different color, not just white. So satin paint comes in different color. Whatever color you need, just ask the company you want to buy it. I need satin paints in yellow, I need it in orange, I need it in blue, in black. So satin paint comes in different color. You don't just need to mix it. That's a wonderful question. Let's go to the next question. Guys, let's double tap on the screen. Let's double tap on the screen. So satin drum is 72,000. Are you selling tiles also? No. We don't sell tiles. We don't sell tiles. We don't sell tiles. So we only sell the chemical that will help you prevent water from affecting your wall and your paint to peel on the wall. Okay, thank you, Boluwatife. You're welcome. If you want to place your order, 0904-357-5896. That's the number on the screen. Okay, how much is satin drum? Satin drum is 72,000, 7 and 2, 72,000 naira per bucket for any color you want. Mr. Tope, how much matte paint? So matte paint is 68,000, 6 and 8, 68,000 naira per bucket. So 68,000 naira per bucket, and it's very, very good, has excellent coverage. So thank you to everybody who has been dropping comments, dropping likes on this particular live. Thank you to everybody who has been sharing the live. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you guys. So 0904357586. That's the number to reach out to. 0904357586. That's the number to reach out to on WhatsApp. Thank you to Abdul for joining. I really appreciate you. Monsura Abugana, thank you very much for joining. I think we've answered most of the questions on most of the other questions. So if you have any question on how to paint your house, how to make your house look very beautiful, please leave it in the chat. Leave it in the chat. I'll be there to respond to you. Thank you to everybody who is watching on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who is watching on YouTube. So if you are yet to follow me, make sure you follow me. We are just at 99.9 thousand followers on TikTok. So make sure you are the you are the 100,000 person that's following us. Will that not be great? So make sure you are following us. Let's get to that 100,000 mark. Let's get to that 100,000 mark. It's an amazing community of people who have been supporting the work we do, who have been learning how to paint their house, how to make their house look beautiful. So somebody is asking, is there any damp treatment that will work without removing the plaster? Yes, there are. There are some damp treatments chemicals that you can use without removing the plaster, but they are not that effective compared to when you remove the plaster. And the reason is that the plaster, what I mean the plaster is like the plastering they did on the wall, is the one that is soaked already. So it's just like you it's just like befriending the enemy, because once you put that on the already contaminated surface that is already soaked and it's already peeling and flaking off, it will affect the longevity of that particular chemical you are putting. So the best thing is to just remove the plaster, put the chemical. Once it's dry, you can replaster your surface again and then you repaint. That system will last long compared to what you just scrape this painted surface and apply the chemical, because you've not really done anything. You've only put powder on the surface, and then once there's rain now, the powder will wash off. So that's what you just do. So but if you want the best solution, use Costa 2K, use Crystal Coat. You can also use Damp Master. So if you need any help, message me on WhatsApp 0904357586. That's the number to chat on WhatsApp. Okay. So if you have any question, leave it in the chat. If you have any question, leave it in the chat. Let me check if we have any question there. Okay, somebody is asking. Somebody is asking, what's the difference between matte paint? Somebody is asking, what's the difference between matte paint and emulsion paint? So matte paints, emulsion paints and matte paint, they are generally called emulsion paints. But the difference is that matte paint is a higher grade paint. It has better mix of chemical than emulsion paints, which makes it last longer than ordinary emulsion paints. So and now, if matte paint is using 5 years to 7 years, ordinary emulsion paints will be using 1 to 3 years, depending on where you even paint it. And the other thing is that the other difference between the two is that when you paint matte paint and you paint emulsion paint, you realize that the feel, that is the way matte paint looks, is different. It's more smoother than the way emulsion paint looks. It's not that emulsion paint is rough. No, you'll be seeing some lines on emulsion paint, but on matte paint, you see that everything is smooth, like it's very smooth and soft like that for matte paint. The other difference is that in the coverage, where you can be using 2 to 3 buckets of emulsion paint, you might be using 1 bucket of matte paint, which makes it good for you to paint anywhere you want to paint. So another simple difference, like obvious difference, is that matte paint is more expensive than emulsion paint. So those are the difference between matte and emulsion. You can use the two for both outside and inside, but matte will last longer than emulsion. So somebody says, what is inside the keg? The keg, this is Costa 2K. It comes in both liquid and cement. So this is the liquid. So we also have the cement. So what is okay? I've answered that. What okay? Yes, we are in Ibadan. Please message me on WhatsApp. I will direct you. I will send you the direction to our store in Ibadan. What about oil paint? So this is oil paint. Gloss paint is what most people refer to as oil paints. And for oil paints, what you use them for basically in Nigeria here is on doors, iron windows, your burglary, your gates. So those are where you use gloss. Even though nowadays, and even from the since the olden days, people have been using gloss paint to paint their wall, which is fine as well. It lasts long and it's also cleanable like satin. So, but I prefer satin than gloss when it comes to painting wall. So because satin looks more beautiful, easy to maintain, and it also spreads more. It also has a good spread. So thank you to Dr. Thank you to Ruby Oils. Thank you to Jenny for that question. So that is gloss paint for you. So if you want to paint your iron doors, your iron windows, you have a gate you want to paint in your house, just go for gloss. So if you have any question you want to place your order, message me on WhatsApp 0904 357 5896, 0904 357 5896. That's the number to call, to chat on WhatsApp. Please, WhatsApp only. So 0904 357 5896. Thank you to everybody who has been double tapping on the screen. If you are not double tapping on the screen, you are wrong. If I catch you, it will not be smiling for both of us. What color is easy to change? Orange color too. So there's no color you cannot change orange color to. What color, how can I paint my wall that was painted with a deeper color with a lighter color now? So if you are somebody that have a wall that they've painted with, let's say, orange, and you want to repaint that particular surface again, what you can do is to apply a primer on that particular existing surface, and after that, once the primer is dry, apply the new color, so it will end up saving you paint. But you can also apply the paint directly, the new paint. Let's say you have orange before, you have dark gray before, and you want to paint white. You can just apply, once you sandpaper the surface, you do all this normal surface preparation, you can also directly apply your white on it. The only thing is that it might consume a little bit more paint compared to when you have a lighter shade color. So which is why most people are skeptical of painting darker shade, but it's not that serious. Like the quantity of paint you use is not too much. It's not like times 2 of what you're supposed to use, maybe times 1.5. So where you're supposed to use 1 drum, you might be using 1.5 drum. So that's just the little difference there. So that is what you need to do. If you have a deeper color on your wall before, you want to change to lighter color. So but if it's the other way around, you have lighter color on the wall, you want to paint deeper color now, there's nothing you need to do, because deeper color will overshadow the lighter color easily. So somebody is asking, what is the solution to damp wall? So the solution to damp wall is to apply the right chemical. You apply the right chemical, so you can use Costa 2K, Crystal Coat, and Damp Master. Or if it is a rented apartment, just use Costa 2K and Crystal Coat. But you also need to know what causes that dampness, because that would determine the type of treatment you use. Because the type of treatment you use for a wall for a dampness that is caused by rising damp is different from the type of treatments you use for a dampness that is caused from water seeping from the roof, or a dampness that is caused by just condensation on the wall. So the treatments will be different for each one. So you need to know the cause of the dampness before you say you want to treat it, because if you did not know the cause, you might end up spending millions of naira without even achieving the results. So for example, a lot of people have chatted me and they have dampness from the bottom to the top, and even their pop has dampness. And what they will need to check in most cases when you have it like that, like you have mold all over your house, even the ceiling and everything, is to go and check the roof. Somewhere is leaking on the roof, or if it is not the roof that's directly above you, it means somewhere is leaking on the floor that is directly above you. So you need to check that thing first before you say you want to do any treatment, because if you did not check it, the water will still be coming even though you treat it, or over a very short period of time the thing will come back. And I've seen a lot of people say, I've treated this, it's still coming. I've treated this thing is still showing, what do I do? So it's because you did not find the root cause. Once you find the root cause, you know the right treatment to use. But these are the basic chemical you use to treat dampness. So okay, so what is that paint that after painting it stains, you can clean the stain? So it's not a paint, it's a chemical. So you can, if you're somebody that just paints your house and you have stain on the wall, like you have stain on the floor and you want to clean it, you can just find all this dishwasher or any cleaning chemical can help you clean your paints off easily. For most paints, emulsion, matte, satin, those dishwasher will remove them easily. The only place you might have issue is when you have gloss paint staining your floor. So that then you can go for higher chemicals, like all these special chemicals that people use. But those chemicals you need to be careful. Some of them are very harsh that if they pour on your tiles, it will discolor the tiles. If they pour on your skin, you have problem. But all this normal dishwasher, all this normal floor cleaner, toilet cleaner, you can use them to clean the floor and the paints will go off. It's something I've practicalized before. So that's a good question. How much is small emulsion? Small emulsion is 4,200, 4,200 naira. So sir, I will not mention any. Sorry, I can't comment on any paints if it is good or not. So, but if you want the best money for your, the best value for your money, go for Armstrong paints. How much is small white emulsion? 4,200. And please, sir, can 3 small paints of white emulsion be enough to paint a room safe? Yes, just buy 3 first. If it is not enough, buy more. So that's the solution. It depends on how big the place is. It depends on how big the place is. So thank you to everybody who has been joining this live, who has joined this live, who has been commenting, leaving comments, sharing this live, double tapping on the screen. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to David. Thank you to Chigo. Thank you very much. So we have a store in Lagos. If you want to place your order, the number to chat on the screen is 0904-357-5896. That's our WhatsApp number. So you chat us 0904-357-5896. 0904-357-5896. That's the number to chat on WhatsApp. Make sure you are double tapping on the screen, guys. Last goodie, thank you very much for joining. Make sure you are double tapping on the screen. You are double tapping on the screen. Make sure you are double tapping on the screen. So if you want to place your order, 0904-357-5896. If you have any question, you can also message me on WhatsApp. Thank you to Marvelous for the follow. Guys, make sure you are following us. We are close to 100,000 subscribers. Hopefully today we'll reach our 100,000 subscriber follower goal on TikTok. Yes, it's a long way. It's a long way, starting from just 1,500 followers on TikTok, or even where we are at 700, 500, 60, even 60 followers. To 100,000 is a long way. It's a long way, and currently at 3.3 million views per month, it's not easy. So we have a whole team behind the scenes that are working very, very hard to make this possible. So make sure you make my team happy by following us on TikTok. Let's get to 100,000 today. So the WhatsApp number again is the number on the screen, 0904-357-5896. You see where they write ask me about paint. So then you see 904-357-5896. Just put 0 at the front of the 90, so it will now be 0904-357-5896. How much is, I don't know about that. We only sell Armstrong paints. So our satin is 72,000 naira. Our satin is 72,000 naira, 7 and 2. This is our satin, very very good, 72,000 naira, 72,000 naira. So that's the amounts we sell our own satin. So thank you to Big M, thank you very much. Thank you to Irene for liking the live. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. So we have crystal coats. So we have been showing you a lot of paints you can use to paint your house. Satin paint for the inside, matte paint for outside, Weathermax paints also for outside. We have ordinary emulsion paints for both inside and outside part of your house. So those are the paints to use. Master Esther, thank you very much for joining. Emmanuel, thank you very much for that question. So thank you to everybody who has been engaging on this live. Make sure you are double tapping on the screen. Make sure you are double tapping on the screen. Sangi, thank you very much for joining. Sorry again, how much is small satin white? So for small satin white is 19,000. 19,000. 1 and 9, 19,000 for small satin for any color. We need to go up. So if you want to place your order, 090435755896. 090435755896. That's the number to reach out to. All right, guys, bye for now. I think we need to go off. It's okay already. Our solar don't off. So though it's back off, bro. It's okay. You don't.